Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Fear the Hive 1155 podcast. I am your host, Dom. Don't be alarmed. I know the other two aren't here yet, but I just wanted to greet you guys. We're starting about 30 minutes earlier than normal, and I wanted to do this because we're doing the debate tonight, the debate live stream. So, you know what we're going to do is we're not even going to really further this any longer. I'm just going to throw this up here, and we will go ahead and get ready. I am so glad you guys are here because this is a big night. A lot of people are talking about the debate, and they're talking about whether, people who aren't ready to vote or undecided in voting, they want to know who their candidate is. And this debate has a lot of implications as to who people are going to vote for. So I'm just going to get the audio in here.
Candidates separated by the smallest of margins, essentially tied.
I hope you guys can hear that because I can't.
The key battlegrounds, including right here
make
in
sure
Pennsylvania,
that this is
all still very
going
much in
the way
play.
that we want.
The ABC News presidential debate.
I hope that you guys have a lot of commentary with us.
This
and
is an ABC News
please,
special.
anything that you want to talk about, guys, definitely put it in the chat.
Campaign,
I'm just going to put this in there. And I'm also streaming on the X, too. So this is the first for that.
Donald Trump.
So we're definitely trying to make sure everybody is out there and listening to what these candidates have to say.
The ABC News presidential debate. Here now, David Muir and Lindsay Davis.
Huh?
Good evening, I'm David Muir, and thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate.
In this format, never really done this before, so this is going to be interesting for me and my co-host.
The candidates will have
we're going to go back and forth talking about what's going on
on 2 minutes for
going on in the
1 minute
debate.
for follow-ups and clarifications.
We're also going to talk about a lot.
Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate setting for two candidates who have never met.
President Trump won the coin toss. He chose to deliver the final closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump.
Interesting.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Nice to see you. Have fun.
Thank you.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living.
Man, they get right through it. Not even like
Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambitions, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and
if I didn't own my house, if I wouldn't buy my house already,
for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy.
50K?
My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after
what's going on
75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because there was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently.
Sounding pretty.
These are the people that
but I mean, it is the first question, so we'll see how long that lasts.
And they're destroying.
They say that's why he's got to really come across as really presidential right now, because
and we have to get him out.
He could revert back to
I created one of the
bully,
greatest economies
at
in
least
the history
persona
of our
that
country.
A lot of people know.
I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again. I believe very strongly that the American people want a president who understands the importance of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump, will give you a minute here to respond.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad. But it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially
PBS,
and create
which
a
they
great
get theirs from
economy like I did
PolitiFact.
Before.
And Trump tariffs would hit consumers, but exact dollar amount is unclear. Harris said Trump intends to pass what is in effect a national sales tax that would cost families about $4,000 a year. And PolitiFact is rating that about half true, and it says that Trump repeatedly proposed wide-ranging tariffs on foreign goods.
Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators
including
for the
an
entire
across-the-board
world.
tariff
we got gowns,
of
we got
10
masks. We did things that
10%
nobody
to
thought
20%
possible.
and
people
60%
give me
levy on
credit for
goods from
rebuilding
China.
the military.
Although
They give me
tariffs are
credit for a lot of
imposed
things, but not
separately
enough
from the
credit
tax
for the
system,
great job we
consumers
did
would
with
feel the
pandemic.
impact
But the only
from
jobs they got were
kind of in the
bounce
same
back
ways
jobs.
that
These were
you
jobs
feel much
bounced
taxes and
back,
whatnot,
and
because it
bounced
just makes
back, and
it
went
makes
to their
goods that
benefit.
are made in
But
China
I
and
was the one that
exported to the
created
U.S.
them. They know it, and
much
so
more
does
expensive.
everybody else.
So,
Vice President Harris.
all right, whatever.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan,
Now,
it's all
also,
about tax
one thing we
breaks for
don't
the
have
richest
is
people. I am
Kamala's
offering
policies
what
like
I
out there.
describe
So
as
this is
an
another
opportunity
another
economy.
opportunity for her to kind of
the
get that
best
out there.
economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and
so
create
being
jobs
an
and create a
unaffiliated
lot of
voter here,
good,
I'm just in between. But
for our country.
what I
And
don't
just to
like
finish off,
about how Trump comes
she
across at
doesn't
times
have a
is
plan.
somehow,
She
some way, he's
copied Biden's
always
plan,
talked to the
and
people
it's
that
like
people that
four
when people accuse him of
sentences,
stuff,
like
we're saying
run,
that like,
spot,
hey,
run.
you know,
4 sentences that are just
like the
we'll
Wharton
try
School
and
of
lower
Business.
taxes.
He's like, oh
She
yeah, I
doesn't
talked
have
to
a
them.
plan.
They said
Take
it's
a look at
actually
her
good.
plan.
I'm like,
she doesn't have a plan.
no, like come on,
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. I had no inflation, virtually no inflation.
Yeah, the way he
they
says
had the
that,
highest
so weird
inflation perhaps in the history of our country because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response. And you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out. When a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights, But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible
He's trying
for
hard not
lacking
to
and
lash
not
out.
giving us
You can
transparency
tell.
about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from Taiwan. We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people
Real
that are
quick,
pouring into our country monthly, where it's,
there was
I
a fact check
believe,
that brought
21
in from
million people, not the 15
PolitiFact
people say,
about
and I
Trump's
think it's a
baseless
lot higher than
claims
the
about
21.
migrants from mental
That's bigger than
institutions
New
and
York
prisons.
State pouring in, and just look at what they're
Turn this down a
doing
little
to
bit
our
more.
country.
Trump claims that countries were sending millions of people from mental institutions and jails to illegally migrate to the U.S. is once again hands on fire. His campaign has not offered evidence to support this. U.S. immigration officials arrested about 103,700 non-citizens who had criminal convictions, whether in the U.S. or abroad, from fiscal years 2021 to 2024. Federal data shows that this accounts for people stopped at and between ports of entry. Not all of those people were let in. The term non-citizens includes people who have legal immigration status in the U.S. but are not U.S. citizens. The data reflects that the people that the federal government knows about, but it's not exhaustive.
And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would vote to support the 6-week ban. Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
I just want to thank everybody that from X that's coming in. Welcome. Thank you, guys.
They have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also.
This is a big point that he has to make, because this is something that Republicans right now are kind of in the hot seat.
But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time,
essentially, he wants the states to just be able to do it on their own, not necessarily a federal.
For 52 years, every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life.
Mm-hmm.
Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest.
Hey, what's up, JJ?
What that means.
What's
A
up? What's
survivor
up?
of
Good
a
night.
crime of violation to their body does not have the right to make a decision about what
taking in the first few minutes of
that is
this debate.
Immoral.
Yeah, I know. I've been listening to it.
Does not have to abandon
you got any thoughts so far?
Or deeply held belief. The government and Donald Trump certainly should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
Well, so yeah, I've got a live fact check up from PBS.
This is what people
so it's just kind of addressing that as they come up,
want to carry,
which I think this is going to be a big one.
Because
the whole abortion ban thing, that's a big hot button issue for Republicans right now.
Go to jail and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to
I wonder if they're going to have any questions on the recent shooting.
Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
Well, I mean, but this always happens though, like close to an election or whatnot. There's always some sort of a shooting in order to bring this up, and then and this is where this is what irks me. Nobody wants to ban AR-style rifles.
Your miscarriages. I think the American people
and then
believe.
But it's okay for like when you go to gun ranges, you can anybody under 21 can shoot AR-style rifles, but they can't shoot a pistol.
Made by the government.
Right.
Thank you, Vice President
that
Harris.
doesn't.
Well, there she goes again.
That doesn't make sense. Like even if you did allow like under 21 people, age people to own a pistol,
everybody wanted. Democrats,
this is going to sound really horrible, kind of.
And every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the
most
states.
pistols have what 12 to 15 rounds.
It may take a little time. But for 52 years, this issue has torn
essentially 12 to 15
apart.
Rounds.
Yes. And they've wanted it.
Yes,
back
at that point,
States.
I think if somebody was to use a pistol in a mass shooting, they'll probably edit them in some way, shape, or form. But it's still a lot less bullets than what you can have with an AR-style rifle.
Ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because
that's
issue
kind of like I said,
has now
that
been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to your desk?
Well, I won't have to because, again, two things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50 and essentially 50-50 in both the Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote.
She
can't get the vote. She won't
wearing
even
them down.
Close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been. Part of the reason they lost to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D., and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. So wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond. But I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and in asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country? Working people, working women.
So real quick,
who are working
on the fact check that I've got,
who can barely afford
on
childcare as it is,
Trump's 20 million entries estimate is wrong. Trump said under the Biden-Harris administration, let me turn this down because I hear it super loud in my ear.
Barely can afford to do
under the Biden-Harris administration, 20 million people have come into this country. This number is wrong. During Biden's administration, immigration officials have encountered immigrants illegally crossing the U.S. border around 10 million times. When accounting for gotaways, people who aren't stopped by border officials, this number rises to about 11.6 million. But encounters aren't the same as admissions. Encounters represent events, so one person who tries to cross the border twice counts as 2 encounters. Also, not everyone encountered is let into the country. The Department of Homeland Security estimates about 4 million encounters have led to expulsions or removals. During Biden's administration, about 3.4 million people have been released into the U.S. to await immigration court hearings, the Department of Homeland Security data shows. About 422,000 children who crossed the border alone were also let in. So if you add all that up, that's about 3.8 million out of the 20 million that he claims. Here we go.
Abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th month, and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor.
That's wrong.
Of Virginia.
They actually have a fact check about that.
Of Virginia said
Democrats support abortions up to about 24 weeks of pregnancy.
Thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration.
So him saying the 7th, 8th month,
that's an issue that's important to Republicans,
the
Democrats, voters across the board
28th
this
week,
country.
32nd
Vice
week,
President Harris, you
only
were
up to
tasked by
basically
President
6 months.
Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime, trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And
it's mostly political
this comes
leverage.
at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
That's a really nice
And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. We'll talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will
You've
tell
seen
you
that JD's rallies only have like 20 people at them.
You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first. And I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics.
Just like
that's because
Obama
people
said.
want to take their country back.
Obsession
Our
with
country
crowd
is being
sizes.
lost. We're a failing nation, and it happened
I have no idea what's
3.5 years ago. And what's going on here? You're going to end up in World War III. Just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets.
Harris exaggerates an unemployment rate when Biden took office. Harris says Donald Trump left us with the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. This is exaggerated. The unemployment rate spiked to a post-Great Depression record of 14.8% in April 2020 as the pandemic began to rage. Trump was in office then, but he didn't leave Biden or Harris with a post-depression record unemployment rate. By December 2020, the unemployment rate had fallen back to 6.4, which was high for recent history, but well below numerous spikes during the recessions.
Of 200 Republicans who
What's up, Steve?
formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney,
Yeah.
Campaign,
Brother Steve.
including the endorsement of
Dude, your mic
former
sounds
Vice President
great.
Dick Cheney and
Does it really?
Congressmember
Yeah.
Liz
Yeah.
Cheney.
Sounds really clear.
If you want to
switched
really
mics.
know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear
You been,
already, just ask people.
You
who
been
have
watching
worked
lately?
with him.
You been
His
watching some of
former
this?
Chief of Staff, a four-star general,
Okay, so
has said he has contempt
here's
for
the funny part.
Constitution of the United States.
I
His
was
former national security
watching the debate
advisor
like,
said he is
wait a
dangerous
minute,
and
there's something I'm
unfit.
supposed to be doing right now.
His former Secretary
Don't feel
of
bad, me too.
Defense has said the nation, the republic, would
Hey,
never
no,
survive
look, I told everybody
another
here, and you guys can
Trump
attest to this.
term.
I said, hey, it's just
And
me.
when we
It is earlier
listen
than what we
to
normally
this
do.
kind of
And I
rhetoric,
told my
when
co-host,
the
hey, you guys can
issues
come in
that
regular
affect the
time. I will
American
be here
people
hanging out
are
with them
not
until you
being
guys got here.
addressed,
You
I
guys
think
are
the choice is
here.
clear in this election.
So we're
President
good.
Trump, I'll give you a
It
quick
is what it
minute to
is.
respond here.
Thank you, because when I hear that,
Man,
see, I'm a
this
different kind of
guy.
person. I fired most of those people.
Hey, I got one question for you.
What's
Bad
up?
things
To begin
or
with.
bad job. I fired them. They never.
Why does
fired
he always
one
get the
person.
last
They
word?
didn't
I just
fire
want to know.
anybody having
Because
to
you
do
know
with
that's
President
it's a psychological
Taliban
thing
and
for
the
him.
13 people
Why does he always get the
whose-
last word?
whose were just killed.
There are
They just
moderators, there are
violently
people
killed.
that are
I got to know the
paid
parents
to
and
make
the
sure that this
family.
is
They
fair.
didn't fire. They
Right.
should
If he gets the
fire
last
all
word
those
every
generals,
time,
all those top
how is this fair?
people, because that was one
Just
of the most
curious.
incompetently handled
His bank account
situations
is a little larger.
anybody has ever seen. So
But I mean, as
when
you can
somebody
see, he
does a
slipped.
bad
He
job,
slipped.
I fire him.
He was very
And you
stoic
took
in
a
the
guy
beginning,
like
but he's
Esper. He was
slipping.
no
He's
good. I
regressing
fired him, so he writes a book. Another one writes
Regressing
a book.
to
Because
what?
with me, they can write books with nobody
to his
else
normal
can.
self. It's
But
mean.
They have done such a poor
Oh,
job,
yeah,
and
well,
they never fire
yeah.
anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the
They said
inflation.
that
they didn't fire any
Kamala
of their
was
economists.
holed
They
up
have the
in a
same
hotel
people. That's
having a
good
mock
way
style
not to
debate
have books written
for the
about
past
you.
5
But
days.
just to finish, I got more votes than
Well, I
any
mean-
Republican in history by far.
You really
In fact,
can't.
I got more votes than any sitting president in history by far.
How?
Continue on
He just
immigration.
lies
We
with
wanted to talk about earlier,
with
so let's get back to the
impunity.
deportation,
And they just let him.
The Vice President has reacted to as well.
He said, "I got more votes than any president
the
ever."
largest domestic deportation operation
No
in
sway.
the country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say
That's
things
not
get
true.
out of control. You'd have
PolitiFact
no
is right.
problem
They're
using the
typing.
U.S.
With local
military.
police, yes.
You also said you would use local police. How would you
Uh-oh.
deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know
He has no
believe
clue.
that number is much higher.
He has
Take
no
us through
clue.
this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah, it is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed
That's not what he asked you.
terrorists. They allowed common street
You know, he
criminals. They
steers his
allowed
narrative to
people
whatever he
come in,
wants to
drug
be.
dealers
That's
to
annoying.
come into our country.
It is
They're
annoying.
now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will
That's
be one of the
false.
great's
I'm pretty
mistakes
sure that's-
in
that's-
history for
that's-
them.
We talked about that
I
earlier.
think they probably
yeah,
did it
exactly.
because they think
That's
they're going to
100%
get
false.
votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of
And
our
here's the
country
thing.
by what they've done.
Here's the thing.
There's never been anything done like this at all. They've
If-
destroyed the fabric
we all
of our
thought
country. Millions of people
That he
let
actually
in,
knew
and
what the
all over
information
world,
was and was
crime is down
offering
all
it
over the world except here.
authentically
Crime here is up
from
and through the
knowledge
roof.
or
Despite
from
their
reading,
fraudulent statements
then
that
we
they
would
make,
be
crime in this country is
okay
through the roof.
with
And
the
we have a new
narratives
form
that he
of crime. It's
provides.
called
At
migrant
least
crime,
we could
and
say
it's happening at levels that nobody
he's
thought
doing this
possible.
sincerely.
The FBI says
Mm.
overall violent crime.
But he's clearly lying.
The FBI they were defrauding
Yeah.
statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000
Hey, man, you wanna hear something that's really crazy?
They created turned
What's
out
that?
to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Here
Well,
in
I think this
Texas,
is so
we're reading
rich
news articles about how
coming
much
from
the
someone
state
who's
of
been
Texas
prosecuted
spent
for
to traffic
national security crimes,
undocumented
economic
immigrants
crimes,
from Texas
election
to other states.
interference,
How
has
much
been
was it?
found liable
Like $200
for
million.
sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is
Jesus.
in November
And that's
at his
just
own
Texas.
criminal
Are you
sentencing.
serious?
And let's be clear,
If I can,
Jesus.
let me
where
find
each
the
person
article.
stands
Because
on
when I
the
say it,
issue
people are like,
of
"Oh
what
no,
is
you tripping?"
important
No, no,
about
no,
respect
no.
for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents. Get this, on the day after he was arraigned on
Oh,
34 felony
I apologize.
counts.
It was only
So
$148
let's
million.
talk about what is important in this
Still in
race.
$100
It is
million
important that we
race.
move forward, that we turn the page on this
Like, this
same
is-
old tired
It's
rhetoric and
unconscionable.
address the needs of the American
what you
people,
guys have?
Ooh, that's a big
address
word for
what we
today.
need to do about the housing shortage, which I have
Not
a plan
you
for.
too, Jason.
Address what
Get
we
off that
must do to
train, man.
support our small businesses. Address bringing down the price of groceries.
Get off that
Hey, this is-
train.
But
Hey, this is
frankly,
the
American
PBS
people are
PolitiFacts.
exhausted with
I
this
just put in
same
there
old
for you
tired
guys.
playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization.
No, you're
Never
not.
happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department.
Oh, they got to put them two
Every one
together.
of those
Oh, that
cases
makes sense.
was involved with the DOJ from
So
Atlanta
I'm actually
and
on
Fani Willis to the
PolitiFacts.
Attorney General
Yeah,
of New York
PolitiFact.
and the DA in New York. Every
Yeah,
one
what
of
did you
those
guys think
cases.
that
Same
too?
thing.
And then they say, "Oh, he's a criminal." They're the ones that made them go after me.
This
By the way,
man
Joe
lies
Biden was
so
found
often
essentially guilty
at such
on
a
the
high
documents
rate
case. And what
that
happened in my
there are
documents
teams
case?
of people
They said,
listening
"Oh,
to
that's
this
the
trying to
toughest of
fact
them
check and
all."
they still can't do
A
it.
complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election.
President
They're
Trump.
fake cases.
President Trump, thank you. A really quick response here, Vice President Harris, on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme
I'm
Court
glad they don't have people in there
recently ruled that the former president would essentially
because
be
this looks
immune
like
from any misconduct if he
videography
were to
looks
enter
really
the
good on
White
this.
House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate,
think
I'm
people make it
quoting, terminate
look
the
weird.
Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run
can I say that her hair looks really good?
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably
she got that silk press. Yeah, she got the silk press.
She got the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're
because you are
to democracy with a fake Russia investigation.
We do have a lot.
Come on, rein it in.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil.
You know what's interesting? The U.S. actually has
increase
the largest reserve of
domestic oil production
of other
in
countries.
History because of an approach that recognizes
that
we cannot
reserves,
rely on foreign oil.
Or are we producing more than anybody else at the moment?
I grew up a middle-class kid, raised by
a lot of places in Alaska has more oil than possibly even Saudi Arabia. We just haven't even tapped into it.
Yeah, but you gotta drill it and you gotta frack it to get it, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so no, it doesn't count. Like it.
$400 million
has potential, man.
And then filed bankruptcy.
No, it doesn't. No. Fracking is the worst thing humanly possible that you can do to get oil.
With the private sector and home builders to
increase
3 million
is it that you
homes,
frack to get oil or you frack to get the
my work
natural
that is related
gases?
to having a friend when I was
it don't matter what comes out after you're done fracking.
Well, because it's like, if the natural gases come up, it's possible that they leak into the water supplies. That's underground.
Well, it's not the natural gas. It's the chemicals used in fracking that's the problem.
My work that is about protecting
that's the
Social
thing.
Security and Medicare.
The reason why there was such an aversion to fracking is because fracking has a tendency to contaminate the groundwater, like the source water, like the water that runs 50, 60, 100 feet underneath where we stand. And once that is contaminated, then like there's no water.
Right.
They haven't figured out how to do it without, by and large, without that. So,
and scientifically, you can't.
Strength is not in beating people down.
Well, they haven't figured it out yet. There has to be a way. But until people are made to find a way.
$400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars.
So you were given $10 million.
And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly. And everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it.
You don't try to make it make sense.
Gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different.
I mean, he said it. I'm just saying.
She was big on defund the police.
And you would assume he knows what he's saying.
I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar?
Ooh.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of.
Welcome to the debate episode. If you've just hopped on, we're watching the debate. We are trying our best to have commentary, but it's kind of hard to have commentary because there's not a whole lot of policy conversation at the moment, and there's not a lot of truth at the moment that's being provided.
Speaking of truth, PolitiFact just came in not too long ago with, yes, Trump talked about terminating the Constitution. Harris said Trump was someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting,
the roof.
Why we even have this? We all know what he said. This is not
I know.
even.
I'm just saying. In 2022, Trump said on Truth Social that election fraud could be the basis for termination of rules found in the U.S. Constitution.
They got it up.
And there's no mechanism for the termination of constitutional rules because of the undesired election results. We rated Trump's statements pants on fire.
Let's go back to Trump.
Which means he is lying.
There is a mechanism, and that mechanism is turning democracy into a dictatorship. That's the mechanism.
We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take.
Why are you talking?
400, 500 acres of desert soil. These are not good things for the environment.
You know what's very interesting?
I'm a fan of solar, by the way.
Since we're talking about solar, there's a desert in Africa that if we put solar panels on, it would power the entire world.
Democracy and the role of a president.
I mean, if we're talking about the efficacy, there goes your word for the day of solar, right?
You would be right there with them.
We just don't have enough batteries to do it.
Like even Australia, like 80% of Australia is like uninhabited, and if they put like solar panels on like 30% of that land that's uninhabitable anyway, you could run everything out there. And plus, as we're going, solar is becoming like solar panels are becoming more and more energy intense. So they're able to draw in more and more energy as we go on.
Not later on. Peacefully. And
they could just put it on existing structures they have now, and that way it doesn't affect nature.
But they want to put what is it? LTE broadband radios on buildings downtown.
We didn't do this group of people.
I'm pretty sure
my question is,
all of that all into one.
My question is, why aren't there any windows that are solar panels?
And they're working on that. You're right. There are windows that are able to take in energy and convert it into electricity.
She said at the beginning.
Yeah, because that would be. If I were the mayor, you're building a building. Yeah, you got all your windows have to be.
Especially all the all glass ones. Like yeah.
South America. They're coming in from.
There are ways. There are ways.
The world, David. All over
Anyhow.
the world. And crime rates are down. All
Jason, how's your son doing, man? How's the wrist?
Yeah.
One of those people going to be prosecuted. One of the people that burned down Minneapolis is going to be prosecuted. Or in Seattle.
He's in recovery now. He just had surgery yesterday, actually. So
okay. One of those people are going to be prosecuted.
He's doing good. Trying to get him. He's supposed to be moving the arm a little bit today. He's still obviously in a full cast, 9 screws.
Is there anything you regret about what you did on the ground?
He has a road in front of him for recovery.
Make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big.
That's
I
good,
went
man.
to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor.
Try to keep his spirits uplifted.
And the mayor put it back in writing.
Hey,
obviously, it is senior year. You know, it's
this is going to be a
football.
Very big
it's all about
rally
football,
or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't.
But for the most part, he's hanging in there.
I said,
yeah, he definitely just make sure he eats all his veggies and just do everything possible that he can in order to be able to get that wrist better.
Has a tape.
Oh yeah.
She is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their job.
Did he just say? They asked him, "Is there any regret about what you did on
She didn't do her
January 6th?" And he didn't answer the question.
You as president.
Does he ever answer the question?
But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
Oh my God! Make him answer the question, please.
I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured. And
you know what they did at the Capitol that most people don't talk about? They took dumps on senators' desks.
And impeached for exactly that reason.
No, seriously, like they literally.
Isolated situation.
I believe it.
Let's remember
they did it to Pelosi's
where
desk.
there was a mob
they did it to like 8 people's desks.
Tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
If you in the Capitol,
let's remember
rioting in the Capitol,
when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia.
How do you get to the point that you say, you know what, I'm gonna drop my pants and drop a load here?
And stand by. So
Like,
everyone
what is your
who
process?
remembers
Hey guys, watch this. Watch this.
I say you don't have to go back.
Come on.
We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far,
I'm pretty sure they got bathrooms. I'm pretty sure they got bathrooms.
Yeah, but you know, with the crowd and everything, nobody knows the exact map, you know, where the bathrooms are located.
They knew where the desks were.
To stand
you know what?
They just happened to come across it.
And to end the chaos.
They didn't know whose desk they were defecating on.
The approach that is
yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
You probably had a nameplate. Yeah, you're probably right.
Outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate,
I'm just saying, you should go to jail just for defecating in public.
That's
all I'm saying.
If the outcome of this election is not to his liking,
in public, if not,
let's turn the page on this. Let's not
senators.
go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that
is he going to talk last again?
Because they have destroyed our energy business.
I'm about to get on Twitter and be like, hey, ABC.
Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked.
Man up.
Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they come,
all of them what?
If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what.
Wait a minute. Didn't we just talk? We were talking about the Capitol.
I would say we would both leave this debate
right
now.
What? Oh my God!
You know
to Washington D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, it's just been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right.
But I mean, the more that he does
bills.
this is where you start to say,
President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed.
Nah.
You'll wake him up at 4:00 in the afternoon. You'll say, come on down to the office. Let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
No, Mr.
Those
President.
people are killing many people.
That's
not how it works.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you, because it really brings us this into focus. Truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
Please answer this.
Are
you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge that at all. I said it sarcastically. You know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look.
Yeah, but you lost.
There's so much proof.
You
all
lost.
You have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislature.
He didn't lose. He just didn't have enough time, any more innings or any more quarters.
The most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls. And we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. Evidence? They don't even know what country they're in practically.
Wow.
And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into
our country. There is no voter fraud aside from
I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker. We didn't quite
besides
get
the
and we should just point out here
voting for dead people.
And you know this. You and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them Republican.
No judge looked at it.
And said
they said we didn't have standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing.
Come on, man. Do your job.
Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The president of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you. We have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter.
No,
because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now
says that Trump's wrong that job gains under Biden and Harris were a fraud.
They have put it into decline.
The federal agency that calculates how many people are working handed Democrats an unwelcome present during their August national convention in Chicago, a downward adjustment of the past year's employment gains of 818,000 jobs. Wait, 818. But Trump claimed that the Biden-Harris administration was cooking the books, calling it a fraud during the debate. However, economists across the ideological spectrum reject Trump's claim. Rather, the process in an effort undertaken annually to fine-tune initial data that the agency acknowledges is imperfect.
See, this thing that we do,
won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying
where
to do?
we, fact
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people.
Trump.
So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
Why?
But we cannot afford
if we just start with the assumption that everything that he says is a lie, then we get a lot of time back.
Attempts, as he did in the past.
Like, I don't even have to go to PolitiFact.
The will of
He's
the voters
opening his mouth. It's a lie.
I'm going to tell you.
I mean, yeah, I did address that earlier because it's like, because they were saying something about the Wharton School of Business evaluating like Kamala's plan, and she was, and it sounded sincere. Like, hey, yeah, they evaluated this and said it would create more jobs, it'd be more stable, blah blah.
Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, I know those guys. I just talked to him yesterday, and it's like, wait, no, you didn't. Stop. I don't even know if that's true that you talked to him, but I assume.
No, he said he went to Wharton. He says he knows those guys. They should have asked him who, which ones agree with you.
That perhaps
right?
We do not.
That's what real-time fact-checking would have been. But come on, CNN. I mean, come on, ABC. Like, this is
that's deeply troubling.
So bad.
And the American people deserve better.
Well, as you guys can see, Stephen is triggered tonight.
I'm highly triggered. How many times have we seen Trump have the last word on any topic or any question? Every single time. I'm sorry.
Minister of Hungary.
No, you're
right.
They
said, why is the whole world
might be written in his
blowing
contract.
up? 3 years ago, it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said,
he's a private citizen. He's not even an elected official at the moment. Shouldn't have been written in this contract.
They were afraid of him. China was joking. And I don't like
he's triggered.
Down killers.
This makes me so mad. You don't understand. You don't understand.
With North Korea, by the way, he said Russia was afraid of him.
You watch this and you go, this is the culmination of everything that is whiteness. What standing does he have to say
in our country? He ended that, but he let
for anything.
I
mean, he's already said that he could walk down Main Street, shoot somebody in the head, and nothing would happen to him.
What happened? Yeah.
Said it.
He said that on more than one occasion, actually.
That was then. That's
no
changed.
When Trump was
well, now he can incite insurrection, and nothing happened.
No, he'll be sentenced in the next 40 days, so it's all good.
If he weren't in that debate, he'd be running.
So how do you think that's going to go?
Votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did?
Actually, no, correction. It won't be 40 days. It'll be shortly after the election.
Votes,
I don't think that's going to go. I think he's going to go to jail. I think they're going to give him jail time.
Secret. He hates her. He can't stand
Not even.
But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was.
How do you throw out 14 million votes with nobody know?
And now she's running. I don't understand.
Bro,
I'm okay with it because
your time is up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held.
It's like you do know it's a federal crime to throw out votes.
Said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how.
God.
Saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago.
That's
now
right.
An estimated 40,000 Palestinians.
Look at your dog.
Dead, nearly 100 hostages.
Look to your left, Stephen.
Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said
he's like, yo, I'm in this too.
Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate.
Everybody meet Astro. Astro's my dog.
Astro.
Well,
hey, Astro.
He's like, I'm gonna make my appearance.
On October 7th,
You're not gonna hide me.
Hamas.
Astro's like, I smell poop. I smell poop. What are you guys watching?
1,200 Israelis. Many of
Big
them
bull butter poop. What are you guys watching?
Hey, women were horribly.
You go back to your. So I got a bay window right here, right, and it's got a ledge that he has claimed as his own.
We would.
I got a little little blanket that's real soft, so he sits there. He sunbathes like most of the day until he wants something, and then he does this.
Innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must
I won't be ignored.
It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal.
He said, "What's up, big head?"
And so we will.
I'm potting. This is what I do. I did this last week, the same time, and you were chilling.
Also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state
like this is our office, buddy. What are you talking about?
And in that solution,
I told you, you're gone. You're going to lay right down.
Security for the Israeli people and Israel, and an equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure
okay, so you know what about what I bought since the last time we talked?
The ability to defend itself,
a gun safe,
particular as it relates to Iran and any
gun
threat
safe.
that Iran.
Now, that's a small one, just for my firearm now.
But we must have a two-state solution.
I'm thinking about getting another one.
Rebuild Gaza,
because after your boy shot up that school in Georgia, I was like,
determination and the dignity they
gun safe, definitely gun safe. Definitely
President Trump, how would you negotiate
you know what I mean? Like,
Netanyahu?
Is it responsible to not have one?
That was real. That was messed up, man. That's sad.
If I were president,
and
very sad.
Something came out. Was it earlier today or yesterday? That the father was actually interviewed by the FBI last year for some crazy stuff that was going on with his son.
Wait for it. Online, there were threats made.
But when she
Kid was referred to the FBI. The FBI referred it to law enforcement, who went and interviewed the father last year.
A very important speech. She refused to be there
before Christmas. After their interview, the father, for Christmas, bought his son the rifle.
I believe that Israel will not
exist
within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong.
They didn't arrest the mother, did they?
At the same time,
no, not to my knowledge. No.
Okay.
But the father is arrested. Has been arrested for second-degree murder.
Yeah, and the boy's being tried as an adult, as a 14, 15-year-old.
Israel will be gone.
Is he 14, 15? I thought he was 16.
He's 14, 15.
Yeah.
As he should.
Yeah, as he should, for sure.
Yeah, I don't.
Had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of
but
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because the more and more that this happens, the more emboldened others become.
Correct.
They had no money,
and that really gets on my nerves.
Now they're a rich nation.
You see what's happening out? I think it was Kentucky or Tennessee or something like that.
Look at what's happening.
The gunman on the hunt, on the manhunt for the gunman.
This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast.
Kentucky, was it?
And Russia ended. If I'm
just want to take a second to say hey to our viewers. If you guys are enjoying this debate or this style of our podcast, please put it down in the chat.
It was Kentucky. I was right. Yeah, please put that in the chat so we'll know. So that we know that we're not just talking to ourselves. Kentucky highway shooting suspect vowed to kill people. Suspect accused opening fire on motorists along a major highway in southeastern Kentucky sent a text message saying he's going to kill a lot of people shortly before shooting people on I-75. Word is he got out, started shooting people, and then ran off into the forest, and there's a manhunt for him as we speak.
Wait, how big is the forest?
It's Kentucky. Everything's forest except for the distilleries in Louisville.
Except for the distilleries.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You like that one, Jason? You like that one?
Yeah.
You guys are stupid, man.
I need one of those right now.
So many military leaders who you have have told me you are a disgrace.
One
of these days, I want to go on
We understand that we have to have.
I want to go to Kentucky for like a whiskey tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I've heard they're legendary.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I've heard they're like I want to go to Napa for a wine tour. I have friends that have gone to Napa, and they say that it changes how you look at wine. I was like, I don't really drink wine, so I don't know how much it's going to change how I look at wine. But sure, I'll go. Hopefully that'll be sometime next year. But yeah, I want to go on a whiskey tour as well because they say
Putin endorsed her. Bro, come on, man. Whatever.
Away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me.
Clearly lying.
Countries think that they're
Putin endorsed you, buddy.
And they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden gets paid a lot of money.
He approved that for Russia?
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate.
She trades in Q says she's in for the whiskey tour.
Hey man, they say it'll change your life. That's what they say. That's what they say.
The ABC News presidential debate.
All right, so we're at our first commercial break. Wow, that was a whole hour.
Have I got news for you? It's coming to CNN.
You know why they on commercial break? I want to see this, by the way. This should be funny because Roy Wood Jr. and Amber Ruffin are both very funny. I don't know who this other guy is, but as long as he's not funny, then we're good. I mean, as long as he doesn't bring down the whole ambiance of the situation, then that should be good. That should be good.
Well, while this is on commercial break, real quick, like we said, thank you everybody for tuning into this. We are definitely on our 2024 president debate special that we're live streaming. And once again, if you have any questions or any comments, please put it down in the chat. We've already gotten to some of the things that we've talked about, that we've caught up on. Jason and his son and Steven's dog who joined us that we've never seen before. So, definitely happy to see the dog. But dude, how in the world did Tyreek Hill get arrested a block away from the stadium and still put up 130 something plus yards and have like a very decent game? That was phenomenal. And then had the celebration where he had his hands behind his back and handcuffed.
That boy got them dog in him.
The arrest was 3.5 hours before the game. That's the only reason why it ended up going down like that. And yes, that man is absolutely insane to be able to perform after that.
Yeah, he compartmentalized pretty well.
Well,
he's chasing
or I was gonna say, or he knows that, like Kobe, if you produce, we'll take care of the law for you. Okay?
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. We will take care of the law for you if you produce, right? And so I don't know if you saw the Dolphins' statement on what happened, but they're backing Tyreek Hill,
of course,
which is different because their owner is a back the blue kind of guy. Yeah. So it was really big. Now we have no idea whether or not the owner was specifically involved in that statement, but for the team to come out and say that's kind of a big thing. But man, Miami cops, man, they be tripping. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, as far as we can tell, with the details of that situation, he didn't do anything really to warrant it, at least as of the findings of right now.
I wouldn't say that. There definitely was something wrong to what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the question is, what would have warranted that, right?
Right.
Like,
because I'm sure you knew who he was. Also, at the same.
No, clearly they didn't. Because he was too close to the stadium. No. I'm telling you right now, if they didn't know who he was, they would not have stopped him. Because this is going to be so much worse of a problem now than it would have been had it not been him. Matter of fact, had it been any other Dolphin, they probably would have got if it had been Calais Campbell, the other guy that they put in handcuffs. Nobody would have cared. Well, not nobody would have cared, but it wouldn't have been as big of a deal. This is Tyreek Hill. Come on, guy.
The fastest feet in the NFL.
The fastest feet in the NFL.
Cop on the body cam saying that this is Tyreek Hill.
Well, I'm pretty sure they knew that when they ran his plates and looked at his license too.
Yeah, but you got to connect Tyreek Hill to the football player. This is Miami. You know how many black dudes in Miami drive supercars that are not football players?
That's fair.
A lot.
Yeah, like it's a thing. It's a thing. So Tyreek Hill could mean nothing to this officer. Yeah. Or he could have been like, I'm the police. I don't care who Tyreek Hill is, which looks like that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, how it played out.
But here's the thing, though. I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill's picture is plastered on billboards, bus signs, bus stops, somewhere throughout the city where these officers had to have known, or at least kind of recognize him. Because if the second officer who walked up behind the initial officer says, "Hey, this is Tyreek Hill," you know which direction he's headed in. Come on, common sense. 1 + 1 = 2.
What's the okay, 3?
I got one question. Does it make it better or worse if they didn't know?
Worse.
Even if we play devil's advocate and say that they did not know who he was, that officer who was supposed to be trained to de-escalate the situation did the complete opposite.
Yeah,
he went on a straight power trip very quickly.
Mr. President,
well,
has been the position of the
here's the thing.
That we must
how many officers do you know
from Vladimir Putin to defend
that
their sovereignty, their democracy,
don't power trip? Like I know some officers, I know a few that don't. But by and large,
into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very
how
simple
would
question.
Trump solve the war in 24 hours?
Ukraine to win this war.
I want the war to stop. I want to
24 hours. Ignore
that are being uselessly.
Well, yeah, I'm like, yo,
by the millions,
you gotta.
It's the millions. It's so much worse.
He was Tyreek Hill was rude to him.
Numbers. Look,
right?
We're in for 250 billion.
He was rude, right? Sure. And he rolled his window back up, right?
Which was the thing that triggered the officer. Number one, not only did you roll your windows back up, your windows are heavily tinted.
Don't have the courage.
What? But in Florida, you can have them practically painted black.
No, legally you can only have 20%. But that's beside the point. The officer, I'm just speaking from the shoe on the other foot. The officer doesn't know, even if he doesn't know who this person is. I don't know if there's a firearm or something deadly inside the vehicle, and now my view is obstructed from seeing what you're doing. Now, does that still justify him, going from where he was to highly elevated? No. Right. But if you have somebody who's not cooperating with you, heavily tinted windows, at some point you have to step in and be concerned for your life.
Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin. Hasn't spoken to anybody.
Hit me, Steve.
That is a war that's dying to be.
Now, again, I don't agree with what went on, but I'm just looking at it from both sides.
Can I say this? Can I say this?
I'll speak to the other. I'll get them together. That war.
The world don't need no scary cops.
And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately,
if you scary,
our country has gone to hell.
You should not be a cop. If you power tripping, you should not be a cop. It's not a profession for you. Okay.
If you join the police force just to shoot a gun, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't.
Because Biden had
should not be a very healthy respect for the danger that is a traffic stop. A very healthy respect for it. That does not absolve officers of the responsibility of following the law and of de-escalating a situation.
Hey, question: What is this? What is this squinty eye with Trump? Like.
But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Speaking of this, let's look at his ear.
The question: Do
you see anything missing on his ear?
For Ukraine to win?
Why are we even?
We all know it was finished. I'm just saying.
Done.
All right.
There's nothing there to see. He was never shot.
From being destroyed.
Hey, he escaped with his life very narrowly
in this moment.
Hey, man, as commander, you know what people are starting to ask?
How would you deal with
the alleged assassin?
Any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Not only did he not have a funeral,
important to remind the former president,
in 48 hours there was no body because they cremated your boy. So there was no way for anybody to do any investigation about this dude.
Because he would just give it up.
Interesting. I said that. I think I said that at one point.
Definitely called it.
I actually met with Zelensky.
My BSO meter was going off
before Russia invaded. Tried through force.
Like you got in order to make it look good, you got to have a sacrifice.
Not only that, they can't even find the funeral for the person that was supposedly killed behind Trump that day.
And I met with
because remember, they said somebody else died. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
No funeral.
Yeah.
No funeral. No firefighter funeral.
Funding for him raised over $2 million.
The work that I and others did, we brought
for who?
Countries together.
We don't even know his name.
Ukraine in its
I mean, well, no, Trump did parade out his uniform during the RN.
Because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the the Javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. Understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the
Oh no, I stand corrected. He did have a funeral, because I can find the obituary.
Putin would be sitting in Kyiv
with
his eyes on the rest of Europe,
Yes.
starting with
Poland,
Poland, and wanting to tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a
my thing about Trump is
what is known to be a dictator.
He doesn't do anything
you for lunch.
without somebody, unless it benefits him in some way, shape, or form. Like, I don't care what it is. Anytime you think something's going on good, it's benefiting him in some way, shape, or form. It's always you do something over here to mask whatever he's actually doing, and that's always happened. I noticed that during the last presidency. That's really weird to me.
He would have been sitting in Moscow, much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that.
Hill getting detained.
Eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening. But he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war, because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said it at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fella. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is, it has been about standing as America always
It's crazy to think that she dated Montel Williams
or something. Upholding international rules.
She was a hot girl at one point, and Montel Williams was the man.
Shows strength.
And now she's vice president. Not that it's not possible. It's just, you know, the then and now challenge. You're like, man, wow, you really blow up.
Our enemies because you adore strong men instead of caring about democracy.
That's California for you.
And that
she's sitting here going head to head with Trump.
You see, fact checker on
and the American people have a
right what they say?
On a president.
Trump says he left Iran broke. That is largely accurate. Iran's foreign currency reserves fell from 128 billion in 2015 to 15 billion in 2019, which represents a dramatic decline in a short amount of time. This decline is widely believed to be a consequence of the tightened U.S. sanctions on Trump, and it has not revised to any significant degree since. The policy that Trump administration pursued led to a significant decline in readily available official reserves of Iran, or the foreign currency in which Tyrion has full access. Senior advisor with Iran on the Foundation of Defense documentary.
I mean, let's put it this way. I've always surmised that being president, if you're strong in one area, you have advisors to advise you very strongly on the other side. So honestly, I would almost say that any 3 of us could actually be president.
Any responsibility in the way that it's all played out?
You know, I'm not saying that you want to. I'm just saying that it's very possible that any one of us could step into being president, because you have so many advisors to advise you basically throw out an idea and they're like, okay, here's the 5 reasons why you can't do that. And basically you just go with the strongest reason to do it.
But here's the thing though. You have to listen to your advisors.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah.
He's not listening.
Well, you got to know stuff. Let's start there. And we know he doesn't know much of anything.
Right. That's why I said with that fact check, that was his advisors. And I'm not saying that he didn't do it. I'm sure he did do it. But a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
It was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with the terrorist organization. The negotiation involved the Taliban.
So I wasn't looking directly at the screen when he said that. I was looking off to the side and I just heard it. And I was like, what are we talking about? I thought this was a family-friendly show.
It is a family-friendly show. I was just talking about squirrels and their nuts. Like, come on, man.
For us as Americans.
You keep saying it. I think we should stop.
The importance of American diplomacy when we invite and receive.
Oh my gosh.
World leaders.
But no.
And this.
What are we talking about now?
Former president, as president, invited them to Camp.
She almost called. She almost let it out. She almost let it out, bro. She almost let it out.
The United States.
Talk your talk, Harris.
The level of respect. And this gets back.
She's getting frustrated. I hope she keeps her calm. She got to keep her calm.
Yeah, she has to keep her calm. Now, honestly, she had going into this debate. She actually has more to prove than what Donald, because we already know for the most part what we're dealing with Donald Trump.
Vice President
and everybody is pretty much
to her saying that
Democratic voters are already like, we want to support her, but just give us a little bit more to solidify why we're voting.
Was killing our soldiers, a lot of them with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban. Because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved.
What?
Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban.
He pulled that out.
I told Abdul, don't
anybody can be
named
Abdul
over there. Have problems.
No.
And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. A very good agreement. The reason it was good.
The current Supreme Leader is
would have been out faster
Haibatullah Akhundzada is his name.
We wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new.
And he's been the head of the Taliban since August 2021.
Blew it. The agreement said you have to do this. And
what is this?
They didn't do it. The agreement.
I also heard that Trump hasn't necessarily been preparing for his debate, and if he has, it's very light.
Do what they were supposed to do. I want to move on. And these people.
Can y'all please cut his mic like you said you were supposed to? This was a part of the debate rules. Oh my God.
That's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics.
She and her boss is getting on my nerves.
You recently said of Vice President Harris, quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity?
Thank you.
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those
I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out, and I'll say that. And then I read that she was.
This thing looks like a weirdo.
And that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's. I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently over the course of his career attempted to use race to divide the American people. I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was he owned land, he owned buildings. And he was investigated because he refused to rent property to Black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first Black president of the United States. And I think the American people
are tired of it.
Better than that.
Yeah.
Want better than this. Want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive.
No, he doesn't get to respond.
History of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty,
they have biopics about
we're
that.
Not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy.
Yes, Trump paid for an ad calling for execution of Central Park.
She's trying to get away from Biden.
And he's never apologized for it either. He's never said that he was wrong. None of it.
The worst inflation we've ever had.
Ouch.
A horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time is up.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country. One who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do.
Come on, get on.
Always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction.
I'm about to start a
to
business.
Pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their
on deck, on deck,
bro. You know, with offsetting my W-2 income with $50,000, bro.
In that most critical stage of your child's
Dominique,
I have a plan.
Dominique, I got the order right now. I'm about to get my DUNS number, baby. He's about to be in business. About to be in business.
Help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
Hello. $25,000 down payment assistance. That means I only need.
That means I only need
another. That means I only need another $15,000 to get my 3%. Let's go.
Turn the page.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Let's turn to policy. Let's turn back to policy.
No, Trump. No.
Let's turn to policy, please.
To defund the police, she has
cut the mic.
Confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she has a plan to not allow fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
Okay,
that's what her plan is.
No. Kamala, don't you do it? Don't you do it?
The former president has said something twice that I need to respond to.
I'm sorry. We're gonna move on, Vice President Harris. President Trump, this is now your 3rd time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now
I'm breathing deeply because this is very upsetting.
Quote, unless we can do something much better.
Why?
Last month you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after
Like,
you first started running, do you have a plan,
yeah.
and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up, they wouldn't vote for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I had
they
a
would have
choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make.
Well, that's the other thing. We're concerned about the fact that he's, what is he, 78?
Or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And
even if he's not old, he is incompetent.
If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money, and be better health care than Obamacare,
what's scary is he has such a large following.
But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
Look, man,
I have
I'm almost finished my book, Dominique.
I'm not president right now.
Almost finished my book. And you know what I've learned?
We come up with something. I would only change it if we come up with something that's better.
10 times more.
And there are concepts and options
Ku Klux Klan, Claverns,
and you'll be hearing about it in the not too distant
future.
Then
you can imagine.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run health care
in a way
system.
that is
2 years later, you proposed a plan
alarming.
that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Like the more, I'm almost finished with the book, and they're about to put this guy in prison. But
4 years as vice president, private healthcare options. But
we're talking about four large groups in Florida.
I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a
just in
previous
Florida
point that the former president.
That's not even really Klan country.
I've made very clear my position on fracking.
It's really bad.
About taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act,
get him. She said we're both gun owners.
Look at the history.
I got the book on me.
When Donald Trump was president,
I'm concealed carrying right now. I'm like, oh shoot, okay. That's crazy. That would have been crazy if she did that though.
Yo, is she pull? Hey, yo, you know what she did? She reach under there, pull out that click clack, take that mug apart. But like, I'm a gun owner. What can you?
Can you put it right there on the podium, just like that, right there. Here you go.
There you go.
You don't like him,
I don't need Secret Service. Secret Service need me.
He got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny?
Yep, I remember.
If a child had asthma.
Yep.
If someone was a breast cancer survivor. If a grandparent had diabetes.
Which is crazy.
And thankfully, as I've been vice president, and
the crazy part is
4 years have strengthened.
If they do away with the Obamacare, guess what they're going to be denying people of that have COVID. You lived through COVID and you got COVID. That's going to be a reason to deny.
Going to allow Medicare to negotiate.
All I'm saying is,
it's like what, a third of the population?
We have capped the cost of insulin.
They don't care.
Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it. Vice President Harris, in terms of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a lot
of... made a mistake at number one.
See?
John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It were all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare. Much less money.
Let it go.
But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to do. People are paying
just don't try to
privately for
respond. Just let it
insurance
go.
that have worked hard and
But you
made
can't.
money.
That's the
They
thing.
want to have private.
But also at the same time, like both, like
government
what
insurance
Trump's
while you
doing
wait
is stupid and
6
ignorant
months for an
because he keeps
operation
always
that
wanting
you
to have
need
the
to
last
be
word, like you said. But it's
Thank
like,
you. We have another issue that we'd like to
come
get
on,
to.
we can't just keep doing that.
Americans, in particular younger voters.
If that be the case, hey, you know what? We'll host Donald Trump and Kamala Harris just talking about their issues. You know, if they ever want to reach out to us, we'll do that.
Change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what
I would just like in my lifetime to have an actual debate.
Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1
for
minute for you each.
presidential
Well, the
candidates.
former president had said the climate change
Actual
is a
debates.
hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences.
So interesting thing about climate change, yes, I think we're helping it, but at the same time, I do also believe that maybe our climate is changing just due to
what that means in terms of
the way that it normally does anyway, and we're just living in that time period.
We know
also,
that we can actually.
I'm not saying that it like we're not helping it along, but I think they've shown that.
And I am proud that as vice president over the last
ebb
4
and
years,
flow
we have
of how the
invested
temperatures
$1 trillion
flux in different parts of the country
economy
has happened for quite some time.
Increased domestic gas production.
And I do think it's a mix of, yes, there is some pollution that contributes to it, but also at the same time, I think we're just going through a natural ebb and flow.
Invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening.
I'm not saying we should pull out of the climate change, but
Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs.
You keep tabs on the ice levels in
the United
the Arctic.
Auto Workers and Sean Fain.
Yeah, I got a monitor up there.
That part of building a clean energy economy includes
in looking through the logs,
in American-made products,
you've identified a noticeable,
growing what
recordable
we can do around American manufacturing,
cycle,
opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Ice thaw.
Thank you.
That didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing
something along
jobs
those lines. Yes,
this last month. It's going. They're all leaving. They're building big.
Would you like to put the shovel down now, or would you like to continue to have it in your hand?
I'm saying
it's massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United
States. I believe the world has
of
been here longer than what we have history of. But it does, and that change happens over a millennia or so.
Tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country.
It's not like
because they will kill.
You can actually measure
auto workers,
you know, like in
any
Jesus
auto
times
worker,
or anything
whether
like
it's
that.
in
But
Detroit
I think the
or
world
South
has just gone through its
Carolina
ebbs and
or any other
flows.
place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this
they
country
like drill in the ice, right?
We have
and you know, like a tree has like circles.
You know, Biden doesn't go
and each circle will tell you what year it is. If you drill down far enough in ice, there's circles like on the tree, let you know how old the ice is.
Yes, absolutely.
You measure the distance. It'll tell you how much the ice is thawed in any particular period of time, right? And that's to say nothing of the number of temperatures that have been taken in the Arctic since we started having subs back in the since we started taking the measurements. Subs 1930s, taking the measurements in 18 something or another, right? 1850s, I want to say.
News presidential debate from Philadelphia.
And there's no time in recorded history from any of the drilling that they've done or any of the temperatures that they've taken that would suggest that the polar ice caps have melted at the rate that is current.
I do agree that at the rate that is going, yes, absolutely. But also at the same time, recorded history. Because we don't actually know how long the America's been, or how long the world is, how long we've been in the world.
We were talking about recorded, but we're also talking about ice that has been ice since the last ice age, right?
Right. Possibly, right. Yes.
So, no, not possibly. Ice since the last ice age. There's no possibility about it. No possibility about it. It's been ice since the last ice age, right? And so, unless what you're saying is that you believe that in creation there was an activity that created the simulation of a world existing, even though it had not, then what you're kind of saying is that how I'm looking at here. we've been here before when there's no actual evidence to suggest that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Jason.
Two questions. One, is this before or after the aliens dropped us off?
You're so stupid.
It depends. If I'm a Mormon, it's after. If I'm Jehovah's Witness, it's before.
Okay, and the second question. Is the ice taken from the sphere of the Earth, or is this flat Earth ice?
Well, it's flat Earth. Absolutely, it's
flat Earth. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, definitely flat Earth ice. I mean, where else are you gonna get the ice from?
Yo. All right. While this is on break, hey man.
Oh God.
Can I say real quick?
Sure.
Rest in peace to
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
Yeah, man. Darth Vader, man.
Yeah, let that see my shirt.
Yeah, Mufasa.
Yeah.
I'm so jaded. I thought you were about to say Rich Homie Quan, but yeah, rest in peace to James Earl Jones.
I mean,
speaking of Rich Homie Quan, how are you guys feeling about that? Because there's claims that the girlfriend girlfriend or whoever, the significant other, found him on the couch. But there's also reports saying that the brother or somebody found him passed out on the kitchen floor and moved him to the couch.
Here's the thing. I haven't been that much invested to read the articles that would provide said information. So I just assumed that, he lived a hard life. Again. Exactly. That's what I'm assuming it was, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
unlike whatever he was smoking was laced with it.
Well, okay, so this is what I told my son. Bro, first of all, you can't be out here smoking. Right?
Especially where you don't know where it come from. Like, come on, man.
I'm not a smoke person. I never have been and never will be. I don't like cigarettes. I don't like smoke. I don't even do cigars because that's another story for another day.
Okay.
But
we will pin that one.
I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna laugh. But you can't, because you don't know unless you're rolling your own weed,
right?
From a trusted
weed
your own
man,
weed. Yeah, or rolling and sourcing.
Yeah,
you got to do both these days. Then you have no idea where any of this is coming from. So the disincentives, it's a gamble with the loss being too high.
Yeah,
right. This is not like throwing $5 on the craps table. It's like throwing $50,000 of your $60,000 on the craps table.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. None of it makes any sense. So, but
yeah. And then nowadays, I was telling my wife, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, if they are lacing this stuff with fentanyl, like, don't you guys know a dead customer is not a repeat customer?
Hey, the person may have been paid to slip in that batch.
Listen, man.
Anything possible?
You think the plug knows the chemistry of fentanyl?
No.
One that is focused on the future.
No. Even if he did care about the longevity of his customer base, I don't think he quite understands the chemistry of fentanyl and the damaging effects. And even with that, even if he gives you, like, I don't know, a regular amount of fentanyl laced weed,
right?
How many people, when they're rolling their weed, put a regular amount of weed in their blunt? Tell me that.
That's fair.
I don't even roll. And logically, it doesn't make sense for me to put a normal amount of weed in a blunt. I don't want to get normal high if I'm going to get high. I want to get high.
I want high.
So I'll put extra in. I'm just saying, this is...
can't let that go to waste.
Jason,
that's all I'm saying.
Y'all do know that's not how it works, right? Putting more substance in the paper does not increase your high.
Including respecting our military.
I was waiting on you to say it. I was waiting on you to say it.
in the world.
Look at how fast this is. I'm gonna get super high.
I have no idea. I've never rolled a blunt. I've never smoked a blunt. All I know is logically speaking, if I'm gonna get high, I'm gonna get really high. So I'm gonna use more weed.
No, the only way that's true is if you're making like weed oil and the concentration is higher.
I only have one client.
Oh my gosh, statute of limitations. Statute of limitations.
What? I'm not saying that I made it, but if you think about how you make weed oil, the more weed that you add, the more concentrated it is.
And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be president for all Americans and focus on what we can do for the next 10 and 20 years.
Save me a what? I have nothing.
President Harris, thank you. President Trump.
Good. I'm glad you have nothing to hide. Anyhow, where were we? What were we talking about? James Earl Jones.
Yeah, James Earl Jones.
She's been there for 3.5 years.
You want to hear why I don't like cigars? I'll tell you why I don't like cigars.
They've had 3.5 years.
So I went to my buddy's.
I went
to one of my boys' weddings. Really cool wedding. Knew everybody there. It was great. Great occasion. Great. After the wedding, because I was ushering the wedding. After the wedding, we all sitting down. You know what you do? Smoke cigar, because everybody, they give you cigars at the wedding, right? Good cigars too. So I'm gonna smoke cigar like everybody else, right? I've never smoked a cigar before, but everybody else is smoking a cigar. So I'm gonna smoke a cigar. Alright. Oh, give you a cigar and they give you a custom lighter. I'm like, I'm good. So I take the cigar, I put it in my mouth. I'm just chilling for a minute. Because I ain't
didn't cut the end, did you?
I ain't thirsty. I'm not thirsty to smoke a cigar. But I'm looking cool. I'm looking cool. I got it in my mouth. Right? Everybody else smoking. I'm just chilling. All right, you know what? I'm gonna take a puff or two. I go to light the cigar. And it lit for like a half a second. And then I tried it. Nothing. All right, I'm gonna try it again. Clearly, I didn't light it for long enough.
Wait,
so hold on. So I'm lighting it. For 5 minutes, I'm lighting the cigar.
Oh, that thing was on fire, yo.
And I'm puffing it. I'm trying to puff it while I'm lighting it in like minute 3 or 4. And I'm like, what the freak is wrong with this thing? I don't understand why my cigar won't light. So I went to my master, hey man, how you get your cigar light, man? My cigar won't light. He was like,
President Trump, thank you. And
did you
that
put the ends? I was like, I didn't see that in the manual. I didn't see that in the manual. I didn't.
Airflow.
Jason,
it's all right.
How am I supposed to know? I've never smoked anything in my entire life. How am I supposed to know?
It wasn't going to Bluetooth itself from the cigar into your system.
I didn't know that.
Person of color to be vice president.
I didn't know that.
A former president of the United
So they had a good laugh at my expense because I had a blackened cigar tip.
Yeah, you burnt it now.
Yeah, that's.
And it was at that point I was like, you know what? This is just not for me.
A struggle for Donald
Trump. Well, looks like the debate is over.
Dang, can we get back to talking about stuff that makes us happy and laugh instead of watching a habitual liar?
For sure.
Talk about things like Kendrick is headlining the Super Bowl.
That's gonna be exciting.
That's gonna be hot. That. You know what? When I heard that, I was like, man, that's a big move to Drake. Like, now Drake's got to somehow get like one of the Super Bowls, like either the next one or the one after or something. I don't know. That's crazy.
No. There's nothing but L's. You can't get Super Bowl after Kendrick. That's not gonna work. Should have done it before Kendrick, so you can say he's copying you, but he declined it. So that's not gonna work. So what we're gonna get is 200 million people on February the whatever, calling that man saying A minor. That's what we're gonna get. So I don't think he's gonna do the whole song, but he's gonna do enough. He's gonna do enough. That's for doggone sure. Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be a good year. It's gonna be a good year. Yeah.
That's crazy. All right.
Sundress season yet?
Well, so does that mean that there's 2 sundress seasons, like in the spring, and then like as the seasons transition?
As a lover of sundresses, I would certainly hope so. I've always seen that on the calendar. Soon as fall hits, hey man, that's a secret calendar. You don't even know nothing about that. It does tell me. It does tell me when it's time for the dusters. Actually, it's not even really sundress season. It's kind of sundress, but it's duster season.
Dusters?
Oh, my friends,
I'm as perplexed as you, Jason.
My friends. That's what we used to call them. I don't know if they still call them that, but dusters are the wraps that women wear on top of their dresses during the fall. It's the thing that acts kind of like a sundress, but in wool.
A sweater?
Right.
No, it's not a sweater. It's longer. It's like a dress. It's like a you know how guys have like sports coats?
Yeah.
No, it's like a sport coat, but not really. Like it's longer and it's woolly kind of sort of, and it ties in the front, right around the hips.
I am still confused.
Long dress sweater.
Yes, but we call them dusters, man.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we call them dusters. That's all I'm saying.
No, hey, we learned something today.
They may not call them that anymore. I may just be old. It's very possible.
I wanted you to say it. I didn't want to embarrass you.
Stop. Okay. I got you. Hold on. I'm about to put one in the chat. So let me see what they call it first.
One of my guilty pleasures is watching both like CNN and Fox and just hearing the dichotomy between the two.
Oh, they call them cardigans.
Imagine that.
They call them cardigans. I never knew they called them that. Anyhow, go on. In fact, go ahead and put on Fox News. We need to talk about plans. We need a change of subject. Please help me out. Good. Hey, man, Macy's calls them dusters too. Bam, duster cardigan. Bam. Okay, let's see what he says.
And in many, many ways, that pass that she's gotten has been the greatest disservice, I think, tonight to the American people. That's on ABC Disney.
It is amazing, like
really
the view that you have to forcibly have when
challenging them, especially when
there is a truth and you choose to ignore it.
We don't know anything about Kamala Harris, and that's frustrating. I didn't hear you. What?
No, that's it. We were listening to you.
Thank you.
What do you mean we don't know anything about Kamala Harris? Oh, God. Sorry.
Let's go to Harold Ford Jr. Harold, your takeaway from tonight.
So I agree with Brett. This has to be thought of by supporters of Donald Trump.
Why does his hair look like that?
And people in that campaign is a disappointment. June 27th, we talked about before, was a different kind of collapse for Joe Biden.
Wait.
In some ways, this has
I don't mean to make
be
this a racial thing,
as,
but he's got
as a collapse
black
in some ways.
features
I
and white
got
features.
reaction from Republican friends. The two common things
Like,
are train wreck, and he needs this
weird.
to end. These are people
like his hair. His hair is giving off black.
I said about Joe Biden at night that he's seen all over the place.
He has a gray
widow's peak,
organized. I get the sense. I think ABC, the moderators, could have done a better job. But it's almost like if
look at his facial features.
Like, you go up against playing a team that's taller than you, he'll complain at the end of the game.
He could be mixed, or he could just be tan.
He's used to people piling on.
No, he's mixed.
Or he could be sprayed. Or he could be sprayed.
No, he's not.
Look at his hands. Look at his hands.
The Vikings, who said they are.
When they come back up, look at his hands.
And Donald Trump tonight was that guy. Too, she conveyed the calm.
He's sprayed. He's sprayed.
She answered all the questions about the switches.
Taking a page out of the Cheetos.
He would have raised some of those. I know we said, well,
you'd be surprised how many people do that too.
You're in a fight for what you believe is the fight for the country, in the soul of the country, then you have to be willing to do those things. Finally, she was tenacious on Russia.
Finally, she was tenacious
on Russia. Of the country. He was a little too gloomy, I thought. And when asked, I saw around the table.
Oh, no, he's black. Listen to where he's talking.
About a set of plans.
Yeah, a little bit.
He said, I have concepts of a plan. Here we are, 56 days from an election. You've been president before. He's got to recover from this, and we'll see if there's another debate. I hope the two of you are moderating if there is another debate. And if
there's a vice presidential debate on October 1st.
Speaking of which, senior advisor to the Harris campaign, Brian Fallon, just sending out, that was fun, let's do it again in October. To that point, Fox has officially invited both campaigns to a debate in October. We have sent a formal invitation, as we had before, and we've renewed that specifically for a debate to be hosted on Fox News in October. We hope they take it up.
Seems like the American people would love another opportunity to see these candidates. It's been such a short window, and they deserve as many opportunities as possible. We certainly hope that they will take us up on that.
Jesse, your thoughts?
I don't think the American people are watching and thinking any of these people won. This was rough. This was pretty intense at times. She started off.
No, that's what you want.
She regained her footing. But I thought she was going to come out with some of these memorable lines. All the memorable lines were from Donald Trump. Run, spot, rum. Shh, I'm speaking. Does that sound familiar? Wake Joe Biden up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and go get him to sign this thing to close the border. I took a bullet because you said I was a threat to democracy. And they're eating the pets. You watch this thing, if you're a Democrat, you're like, oh, she did a great job. She was much more forceful than Joe Biden. You're Republican, you look at this and you're like, that's Donald Trump. He had some moments where you were like, oh my God, where are we going with this? And then he just had some great knockouts. And so this race just got tighter.
I'm sorry, what?
That's probably true. We're
like I said, I like to watch this for the contrast because it's hilarious. You're like, what?
We are just getting started on our analysis.
Yeah, you watched the same thing
night in the 2024 campaign.
No, he didn't.
Our coverage continues.
He watched it with Trump-colored glasses or
Okay.
MAGA-colored glasses.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. For what they're paying these people on Fox News, I'd be an actor too. That's all I'm saying. What they're paying them,
you have to be an actor.
I'd be an actor too. Seriously.
Yeah, no, I get it. You would have to be an actor to say some things that they just say because you're like, wait, what?
Bruh. Anyhow, but yes. Getting off the debate train. Yes, dusters, Dominique. Macy's calls them duster cardigans. I'll call them dusters, and they are wonderful pieces of clothing. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess never quite knew what to call them, but
I never knew what. I thought it was just like a sweater.
Yeah. I'm with you, man.
I've been by. You know what? I'm gonna shut up now. Ooh, that was real close. That was real close.
Well, so
can we have a real conversation? We've been on 155, 30 minutes, so we're on an hour and 35 minutes. Go ahead, D.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, let's get into some marriage questions. You know, the other week we had some pretty deep conversation, and I think a lot of people enjoyed that. So, I mean, why not bring that back? Like, I mean, we're all three married guys here, and we've all been married at least 10 years or more here. I'm the youngest guy, but you know, it's about 10 years. What is the worst habit that you think that you brought into your marriage?
I plead the fifth.
No, man. No, this is what the people came for. They ain't come for that debate mess that we was
come to hear what I brought.
He gave us the political answer.
Come on. Come on. We all had something.
I'm not going first.
Well, I'll go first.
You said I'm not going first.
I despise.
Take the temperature of the room first.
I despise folding clean laundry and putting it. Like, I'll do the laundry, make sure they're clean, but I have this system of two baskets. Everybody has two baskets. You have a clean basket and a dirty basket. Once the dirty basket's full, you wash the clothes in the dirty basket and they go in the clean basket. If you don't feel like putting the clothes up, It's perfectly fine. Just make sure you know, and you keep the clean and dirty separate. Hey man, you didn't go first. I'm just putting it out. I'm just putting it out there.
No. I know this is a judge-free zone. Slight judgment on what you just said.
If you say "but," you're judging.
It's a judgment zone. It is a judgment zone.
Yeah, we're not washing from one basket to another. We're just going ahead and wash, and we're folding.
No, but he said we got one basket in the entire house. We fill it, we wash it, we put it back in the basket.
What? Everybody has 2 baskets. Everybody.
I got like 8 baskets. What are you talking about?
No, each person in the house has 2 baskets. Man.
And let's see. So you're a family of 5, right?
6.
So
we got 25 baskets.
So you have
12 baskets. Yes. Well, the 2 youngest ones share. So yeah, minus those.
Why
2.
they can't get their own basket?
Because they're not old enough to do their own laundry yet.
Suppose they don't want to fold though. Like
they don't care.
Baskets, man. What's 2 more baskets?
My 2-year-old walks around the house in shorts, and then another second I see him and his clothes are off. He does not care where they end up.
Yo, why do children wear so many clothes? Yo, let's start there.
Yes, let's start there. Let's definitely start.
Yes, I'm talking about you. My daughter comes out of the corner like, are you talking about me? Yes, I'm talking about you. Why y'all wear so many clothes? Y'all ain't got nowhere to go. Ain't got nowhere to be. Ain't got no job. And y'all are not folding and putting away your clothes on a consistent basis. Why are you wearing so many clothes?
And washing more laundry than we are. Like,
oh my God.
Well, my son plays football, so yeah, absolutely. I encourage him to wash his as often as possible.
Every day?
No, not every day.
Exactly. That's an issue I run into. Every day something has to be washed. No.
You got to put a padlock on the washer and dryer.
Oh, we have Samsung washers and dryers. Everything's controlled through the app.
Dang.
I thought Dominique was bad. Yeah, I know.
I thought I was bad.
At the old house. I came home one day. Man's washing their whole cycle for one shirt.
Ooh.
Whole cycle. A whole cycle of the dryer for one shirt.
Oh no, man! You got to hang dry that at least.
Hang dry? It went into the trash.
They went through the whole shirt in the trash. This shirt is so special, you don't even deserve it anymore.
No.
Yo. Dang.
Oh God.
It's definitely not happening. Steve, so what's your worst trait?
Jason is definitely glossing over his, but okay.
He's trying his best to run out the clock. He don't want to talk about it at
look, folks, it's 11 o'clock. East Coast time.
Oh man. So
I've had a very stressful week last week. Lack of sleep. Ready to get some sleep. No, actual like. You see, I took the glasses off.
I saw that. I saw they were all. I figured you had a rough something or another. I didn't know how far back it went. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Worst habit. I had a bunch of habits that were really bad. You want the PG ones or you want the non-PG ones?
This is a kid-friendly show, sir.
I was just joking. I was just joking. Oh God. No. So, all right. So here's the thing. What nobody tells you when you're the first person in your friend group to get married is that your wife is not your girlfriend. Girlfriends can be replaced easily. Wives, on the other hand, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So you have to deal differently, right? It took me a little while to get that together, right? Right. And I was trying to replace my wife. It's just, when you used to dealing with someone and then you're dealing with them and then it's different.
That's fair. Not enough description, but it's fair.
I'm trying to wait. It's 11 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. My wife's probably asleep, so I'm good. Probably asleep, so I'm good. But no. Like that was She is, but if it's too far in, what I found is that she'll do it while she's working, and she don't really catch some of the stuff. So it's all good. I have to wait. Like we're like an hour and 30 minutes in. Oh, don't worry. I'll know about this time tomorrow. Don't worry.
Look, she's writing it down. Like I need to address that with him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need to address that with him.
But no. Seriously, real talk though. Yeah, no. Like making the transition from, girlfriend to wife. Also, what they don't tell you is you can't judge your wife by any of your girlfriend standards. Like any of the cycles and the things that you did per se with your girlfriends, your wife is like immune to all of those. Like they no longer apply, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember like early on, I'd be like, man, such and such used to cook such and such. And I'd be like, but such and such was crazy. That's why you married your wife. So I had to recalibrate myself, right?
Right.
Like, such and such used to, fold my clothes, and my wife don't like to fold my clothes, and I'm feeling some kind of way. But, such and such don't love you like that. So you gotta fold your own clothes. And gotta recalibrate. My wife doesn't like folding clothes. I fold the clothes in the house. So
you fold the clothes in the house?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I watch the fold. Well, you got a distribution of activities, right?
Right.
And I do some things, and she does some things. She don't like to fold clothes, so I fold clothes because I like clothes folded. So
Good job.
Or hung up. I prefer hanging most of them up at this point in my life because all that fold.
Throw them on a hanger.
Yeah.
That's what I'm actually in the process of looking to see how much it costs for somebody to come in and kind of take my wire shelves down and put in shelves like slightly higher, so in that way we can fit a second row in the closet.
I thought you were about to say you're looking for someone to come organize your closet. I was like, I got a person for that. She's good too.
No, I'm pretty that.
Not as good as she is. I can tell you that right now. I thought I was like slightly below average, and she didn't make me feel bad because she's really good at what she does. But she was trying so hard to not make me feel bad that I noticed her efforts, and I was like, I should probably feel bad.
So, she's like, oh, who would ever do anything like this? You're like, me.
No, she came in. She's like, oh, I see what you tried to do there. That's good.
Oh, no.
I was like, I should probably feel shame now. I don't, but I probably should. Let me make myself feel shame.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no. That's one of the bad habits that I had, coming into the marriage, that I had to reprogram myself about, Also winning arguments. Winning arguments is such a low return on investment. Winning an argument.
Very low return on investment.
Very, very low return on investment.
Extremely low.
Like
to all the guys that's not married, winning an argument with your wife is not.
It's pointless.
It's extremely pointless.
Yeah.
You don't get a trophy. There's no celebration afterwards. You
do get a sticker though. You know what the sticker says? Dummy. That's what it says. That's what it says.
Exactly.
You big dummy.
Yeah. On the other side, you get another sticker that says, "You won. Great. You won. Now what?"
What do you plan to do with your winnings?
Yeah. Sleep on the couch. That's what you plan on doing. Yeah, no, because I'm an arguer by nature. Like I like to argue just for the sake of arguing. It doesn't even matter the position sometimes. Like sometimes I just be arguing with my friends, and just because I haven't argued in a few days. And so I had to.
I haven't had a good argument.
Yeah. What? That's what it is. You pick a side. You pick a side that everybody else is against, and you argue that side until you can no longer argue that side.
I avoid arguments like the plague.
Okay, let's say debate.
But however you want to reword it, I try to avoid confrontation.
I'm pretty indifferent about them. If you want to go, let's go. But at the same time, I'm very aware that I probably shouldn't win.
Wait a minute. Dummy said, "You want to rumble? Let's rumble. Let's go."
Man, took off the
I ain't got ain't no fear in my heart. Ain't no fear in my heart. Let's go.
I'm ready at any time, but
I mean, you want to go?
Choose not to.
You gonna stand down? That's good. That's a good decision. But if you want to go, we can still go. Just let me know.
Pretty much.
See, he ain't even backing off of it right now.
Just let me know. But
I thought I was dangerous.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. As a man, just like you said, I'm not gonna win, or I'm not gonna make myself feel like that I won. I'll put up very good points and be like, you know what? You win. You win. Good job.
How does that work out for you?
I don't have to sleep on the couch.
It's the same thing as arguing.
Have any of you guys ever had to sleep on the couch?
No.
In fairness, I don't sleep on the couch.
Okay.
Like I don't
he
care what
sleeps in his 1,200,000 thread count sheets. His Posturepedic.
You do know at a certain point, thread count doesn't matter, right?
Temperature controlled.
At some point, thread count just doesn't matter. I learned that the hard way. I bought some 2,000 thread count sheets, and I was like, "This is the ghetto."
I don't feel a difference.
Oh no, I felt the difference. It just it was an unpleasant experience. But sleeping, no matter what the argument is, we had an understanding. I sleep in my bed, and you sleep next to me, and we cuddle every night. Doesn't matter. So we could argument every single night. Argument cannot be done.
I'm going to bed. Are you coming to cuddle or what?
We can still be mad. No. We don't even talk. Don't even talk about it. You just get in bed and you assume the cuddle position. That's how it works. Okay.
So are you the big spoon or the little spoon?
Mind your business. Mind your business. What's today? Today's Tuesday. Hold on. Let me check the schedule. Let me check the schedule.
He's the little spoon.
But no, I sleep in my bed. What are you talking about? No, why would I not sleep in my bed?
Men want to be the little spoon too, women. Sheesh.
What?
You want to be the little spoon too.
Yeah, pause. Me, a big spoon.
Wait a minute. Wait, not me. No, don't include me. I'm out.
No.
I'm secure enough of my masculinity with my wife for her to be the big spoon. I'm perfectly secure in that.
I'm secure enough with size that nobody's going behind my back. If I roll,
I mean, okay. I get that. I get where you're coming from. I'm just saying, you ain't never been a little spoon once.
No.
You should try it. It's rather therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take your word for it.
Yes, Lord.
It said, I don't need therapy.
No. Yeah, big spoon.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. But yeah, no, you sleep in the bed. We don't do that.
Yeah, like what?
Ain't enough mad in the world. I'm sorry.
True. Yeah, absolutely. I truly understand.
I do one better. I'll go sleep in my truck first before I go sleep in the couch.
Oh, you got your truck fixed, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of trucks.
Audience. I'm speaking to the audience directly here.
Uh-oh.
My apologies for not being on the podcast last week. We had a couple of things go on in the family. My son got injured during a football practice, which he's now doing better after surgery yesterday. We're still on the road to recovery. Trying to keep his spirits uplifted. It is a senior year. Scouts are looking at him, so obviously. After that incident, Diamond, our dog, got severely ill.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she was knocking on the door. I'm gonna just sum it up that way.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then dealing with son injury as well. It was a lot. Mind you, this was all by Thursday. Wednesday, Thursday. I like to say though, she's doing much better. After a couple of vet visit and some medication, she's doing better. She's actually active today. Today was the first day that she's up and running around almost like normal.
That's good.
We thank God for that. Because,
how old is Diamond?
She's 10.
Oh wow.
So she is older.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, that was between Wednesday, Thursday. Mind you, with the added stress of a very stressful work week. Saturday or Friday night. Friday night into Saturday morning was the cherry on top of my week. My wife blew the engine in her car.
Whoa, that's a week there.
Blew
that's a week.
And it's a new car. She's only had it 4 months.
Like brand new from the dealership,
Newer.
Okay.
Not a 24, but it's definitely newer.
Yeah.
And just outside of warranty.
God dang it. Always happens that way. Never fails.
So that is coming out of pocket.
That never fails. Like either you're right outside of warranty or you just made the last payment. Never fails.
She's currently driving my Suburban.
Mm-hmm.
She's driving my baby. And I'm driving my old F-150.
Okay.
No, it's not okay. Like it has severe mechanical issues that are non-replaceable or not fixable without doing a complete overhaul.
Oh, JD Vance is not worth talking. Jesus Christ!
But it still gets me from point A to point B, and I'm grateful for that. So that was how my week went all last week.
That is one week, bro.
That explains why you have your glasses off. That makes sense now.
You got some liquor sitting next to you too, don't you?
No, water actually. Just
okay.
Hydrating. Just hydrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will share my worst trait. Apparently, what I was told. I have this thing in the morning when I wake up. I sleep with a CPAP machine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think which most Americans do by now. Actually,
at this point, yeah.
Yeah. It's.
I've been sleeping with it now for a couple of years. And do any of you guys have a CPAP machine?
My wife feels like I should, but I don't. I think it's not to a point where that I stop breathing, but it's just that I snort really loudly, which I don't remember doing that until I got married.
And we're going to edit that.
Yeah, I started to hop on that train and I was like, no, I don't think I will. Don't think that I will.
But anyway, I've been wearing a mask since before my marriage, actually. So years. And one thing about wearing the mask in the morning, it pretty much kind of backs all this up, all your sinuses and stuff. So in the morning, you need to blow your nose, clear everything, brush my teeth. I still have my tonsils. My tonsils are enlarged naturally. I have large tonsils. So in the morning, while brushing my teeth, I brush my tongue like it's supposed to. And I kind of gag, pause. Between making the noise of the gagging, the brushing teeth, the blowing the nose, that's my wife off. She does not like it.
My dad has a similar trait. Like when he blows his nose, he sounds like an elephant. And I'm like, dude, do you have to blow your nose like that loudly? Yeah. And he's done it ever since I was a kid. So it's like you hear the noise and you're like, oh, there's the elephant. And Dad, he's upstairs. He's awake.
Here's the thing. My dad does the same thing. And that's who taught me how to brush my teeth and prepare myself in the morning.
So learn.
So this is a learn trip. Yeah, it's a learn activities. Okay.
And she swears up and down it's something that I can fix. This is what I've known.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, you gotta just do it.
So I'm sorry.
Technically, wait. Technically, she's not wrong, right? She's not wrong, But new tricks are really, we don't come across new tricks that often, right?
I won't answer that.
I mean, it's a. You know what?
You guys are absolutely freaking believable. You know what? Where's the outro music? You guys need to go to bed.
Oh my god! Because they said, I heard myself say it, and I was like, "You don't really believe that, do you?" Oh my gosh! That's the funny part. I was like, "You don't really believe that, do you?" I mean, you know.
So, yeah, that is what I've been told is my worst trait, as well as not letting certain things go in life.
Yeah,
but I feel as though we all do at some point. So,
in my marriage, I had to learn how to let some of that stuff go because I was the same way.
time out. We're taking time.
Yeah. Okay. Flag on the play. 5-yard penalty.
No. I'm sorry. This is a slight break. Look at your TV screen. What does it say?
Trump and Harris spar at first.
No. Go to a different channel. Doesn't matter. Anything other than Fox.
Really? Well, I'm using YouTube TV, so I'm trying to figure this out. This is like my first time having this thing.
Well, I'm in the loft, so.
WBTV? I don't know. Let's try that.
Taylor Swift endorses Harris for president. It's over. Game, set, match. Game, set, match. Game, set, match. Game.
The Swifties.
It's done.
If you got the Swifties, that's a big thing. Why are there like so many different views? So YouTube TV, on every device that I've used it on so far, they all look very different, and it's confusing.
Yeah, their interface is not.
Yeah, I wind up just searching most of the time for whatever channel I'm looking for.
I'm sorry, we was about to get deep too. That's me and my shallow zeitgeist stuff.
Yep, Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris. Yep, there it is. Done deal. Yeah. But I don't know, where were we? Holding on to things in a marriage. Yeah. I'd have to say I've been pretty good about forgetting a lot of stuff, like whatever the situation is, and moving on from it. And regardless, and in the early stages of marriage, I was told that I hold on to a lot of things and then use it later, which in some regard is unfair depending on what's being talked about. I mean, it does show repeated and a behavior pattern, but okay, fine.
There is certain things that I refuse to let go. Now, and the comment was made. We actually had the discussion not too long ago. What does it benefit you from holding on to it? Doesn't benefit me anything to hold on to it, but I'm not letting it go.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things. Now, there's one thing there's a difference between forgiving and forgetting.
That was deep.
Right.
That was deep.
And certain things I'm not forgetting.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I forgive you, but just know you're not coming back at me with whatever it is that you did.
Right.
It's not happening.
Right. I mean, without that history, you're bound to repeat yourself.
Exactly. And it only took you one time to learn the stove is hot.
Mm-hmm.
Can I offer an alternate consideration?
Yes, oh wise one.
God,
no.
Yo, wait, no. Real quick. The CNN fact check showed that Kamala Harris made one false claim to Donald Trump's 33.
Only 33?
False claim was?
No, they're talking about it, but I'm not really listening to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
only 33. He had a good night.
Yeah, good night.
Light work.
He won the Super Bowl. Yeah, we're good.
The alternative consideration, right? Because all of my life, I've been a person that has, as soon as I can verbalize what my issue is, then it doesn't exist anymore. That's how I've always been wired that way. Like almost no matter what the issue was, if I can tell you what the issue was, then it doesn't exist anymore, right? And it's almost like it never happened. Okay. I'm older now, and I'm much more petty. I am much more petty, right? Like my younger self would look at my older self and be like, "Dad, that dude's petty." Because I am. I'm very highly. There's like amounts of petty that I didn't think were possible in my life. But I try to make sure that as much as I'm remembering the patterns that I see or that I've experienced with people, I'm trying my best to not allow the pattern that I've seen or the thing that I've observed or the thing that happened to me is the worst part, right? I'm still getting over some of that stuff, but to not hold people to those things in perpetuity, right? Like forever and a day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I ignore what happened or forget what happened, right? Like forgive and forget, that sort of thing. No, definitely forgive, not forget, but you don't have to be that. That's a kid. Why is a kid down?
Don't you have kids?
You don't, huh? Yeah, but they shouldn't be downstairs. They should be in the bed sleep. Yeah, he's getting a mouthful right now. But yeah, making sure to give people an opportunity, even within my remembrance of them, to not be the person that they were when they did the thing that they did.
So you're essentially giving them a chance to change.
Yeah, like my big thing is I got to prevent myself from acting like you did the thing that you did forever. You know what I mean? And that it's getting more challenging the older I get. Because I like to say I told you so a lot. It's like my favorite game of all time. But hey, still audience. Nobody asked for nothing from y'all. She's talking about say, yes, it is. Because I'd be right. Not the point. It's not the point. The point is to not hold people to the thing that they did to you the last time or the person that they were the last time. Because everybody's changed since the last time they did the stupidest thing that you experienced in your life with them. Well, no, they are changed. The question is, are they different? They are changed. They have changed. Time changes people. That's what it is. The question is, are they different? Right? And giving people an opportunity to be different, like I have to fight myself on a daily basis to make sure, because man, petty is a strong.
It is.
It's just a strong thing.
Yeah.
Strong. So
absolutely right.
But yeah, I'd be trying because if not, I mean, who are we if we're not, looking into people and allowing them the opportunity to be different than they've always been? Like to me, like that's a similar question. Like when I talk to kids, teenagers, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 20-year-olds, whatever. I've known you for a while. I've seen you at your worst, or when you've done some really dumb things, right? I want to make sure that the next time you see me, I don't look at you with those eyes, right? Like I know the thing that you did, but you're not going to see it in my eyes, because if you see it in my eyes, then at least in our interactions, you're not going to be different than that thing that you did. And so I try really, really hard to take that out so that I don't, pigeonhole people, especially people that are trying to change. Now, people that ain't trying to change, you get the petty. You get the I told you so's because, I mean, I'm not perfect. But
in that instance, you've already changed if you're actively monitoring that about yourself.
I mean, to me, that's like to me, it's like a love language, right? Like it's an act of service to give people
nice segue
to. Hey man, I try to
that
do
was
my thing sometimes.
That was a top tier segue, sir.
Just to give people an opportunity to be different and to not hold them to their past indiscretions.
It's fair. That is fair.
So yeah, that's a thing. That's the thing. All right, one more question. I got a question for you guys. Right, this is important for me because I only identify as American. I have no other frame of reference at all. What is it like to identify with a culture that isn't American?
That isn't American?
Yes. You both have heritage. You have Jamaican, you have Trinidadian heritage that you grew up with, like it's a part of who you are, and you identify with it.
It is who I am. I'm not American.
No, but I'm saying though, you're here in America now, and you're something you'd be considered by most people something American, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what that means is you have a culture that you identify with, that you are, that is not American. Like it is, you have that in addition to what you have here in America now. What does that feel like?
It depends. Like when I tell people that I'm Jamaican or half Jamaican, it's hilarious because they don't assume. They're taken aback. Number one, two, then they're like, oh yeah, I've had Jamaican beef patties and jerk chicken. It's like, wow, is that the only thing? Like, is that the only thing you can think of? Okay, well, all right, well, whatever. I mean, it's not really that. I don't know. It's hard to describe because people associate Jamaicans with food, or I went to Jamaica last year, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's nice. I haven't been back to Jamaica since I was 9. It's been a minute. I mean, but my parents, so when people say they go on vacation in Jamaica, I don't think of Jamaica as a tropical place. My mom's side of the family, they grew up in the country where it's people walk around with machetes and cut each other's hands off if you touch their goat.
Short sleeve,
right? And that's normal. So that's why I think that's another reason why I don't
used to be normal.
I guess. But I mean, for me, right. But I mean, for me, that's why I don't particularly care to see that part. Like my parents took me to that part when I was a kid, but I don't particularly care to see that part anymore.
Clearly, you didn't touch any goats, so you had a good time, huh?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. and even as a 6-year-old kid, or what was I 9? One of the two. It was just because I spent one of my birthdays over there, and it's either 6 or 9. One of the I can't remember which one, but it's just interesting. I still remember a lot of what I saw over there because it was so different from where from where I live at, and even at this age, I still remember it vividly. Like I mean, cinder block homes without any other kind of wall on the outside or inside. I remember taking baths in the sink, and it was a big sink too. And it was basically an outhouse because that part of the house was pretty much an annexation, just with a toilet and sink in there. Gates on the front doors like you live in Compton. So I don't know. It's, a lot of people just think of the nice places, and I'm like, no, they have cliffs where you drive on the side and they don't have guardrails. So if you fly off that cliff, that's just it. And it's just, it's been interesting though. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And Ancestry's helping me learn more about that side of the family too. So
you don't have to give any DNA for Ancestry, do you?
You do. You have to spit in a tube.
My spit is valuable, so no. Come on, man. Y'all gotta laugh. You gotta laugh.
Stupid,
man. But yeah, no. But Jason, what does it feel like to have a culture that is not American? Like, because as someone whose only claim to culture is American, I ask people these questions a lot because it's not a.
Well, I can't really say American culture because I did not grow up with American culture.
Yeah, when did you come here?
I was 8.
Okay. So yeah, a lot kind of like my mom. My mom came over here when she was like 12.
So mind you, I lived in Toronto when we left the island.
Oh, okay.
I lived in Toronto for 4 to 5 years.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I lived in Toronto for a long time. But also both of my parents are 100% pure Trini.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up with nothing but Trini morals and values, even living in America.
Mm-hmm.
This may sound strange. I did not have soul food until I was in college.
Why would you? You had Trinidadian food.
Yeah, same here. I would say same here. I didn't really have soul food until
why would you? You have such a rich
rice and peas, stew chicken, jerk chicken, curry chicken.
Until I was in college.
I didn't have apple pie until I was like 14, 15. And that was at somebody else's house.
Anything that you guys see as normal for you, I did not experience until I was an adult. Mm-hmm. Not saying I was sheltered or anything, but it's not what I knew. It's not what I grew up with.
Right.
I did not have McDonald's until I was a teenager. My parents did not believe in it. It was, if you're hungry, look on the fridge and get food. That's what it was, because it's always something home cooked.
Yeah.
And that's what I grew up with, home cooked food.
Look, my aunt came over this past weekend, and she cooked a plethora of Jamaican meals, like authentic Jamaican meals. Mm-hmm. And even when I go to Caribbean Hut or any of that, it just doesn't. And I love my aunt because my aunt stepped in after my mom passed away, and not necessarily completely filled the void, but a good chunk of it. And cooking was one of them. And her cooking and my mom's cooking are very similar. So it's like, man, I've been missing this. And then even my son, my oldest son, who's not biologically mine, he loves Jamaican food. So it's so fun to see him indulge in that too.
Very rare people dislike Caribbean food.
I'm sorry, say again?
You don't see that many people dislike food.
No, not at all.
Like I gotta buy him a box of Jamaican beef patties at least once a month. Like he's adopted that kind of practically fully. Yeah, he's completely adopted.
They're good. It's because they're good.
But yeah, in the culture here, I can't say what it's like until I actually started dating Americans, marrying an American. That's when I started noticing the cultural difference.
He was like, man, y'all crazy.
He's
like, y'all crazy.
Yes. No, yes. There's some things that they do that I will look like, what the heck are you doing? It's so much easier if you do it this way. And vice versa. There's a lot of things that they look at and it's like, yeah, you're crazy. Mm. A little bit, yeah. Mm. But I mean, it's being married from a foreigner as myself to an American is challenging. Mm. It's more challenging than a traditional marriage because there is a cultural difference that we clash. Mm-hmm. We clash. Sometimes more often than not, we clash on certain things. Just because I see things from one perspective of, again, how I was raised, and clearly she sees things that a normal American would see. And it's hard and tiring to convince someone, hey, this is why I see it this way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand what y'all are saying, but again, as a foreigner, this is what seems to be the easiest way and what makes more logical sense. But when you're surrounded with a house full of Americans,
we're gonna do it the stupid way, okay? Just to make everybody in there happy. We're gonna do it the stupid way, okay?
Which goes back to my previous point why I don't like confrontation. I don't like arguments.
That's why. I knew it was rooted in something.
I'm outnumbered. I shouldn't say I'm outnumbered, but
I pay the bills with my.
It's not even that. It's not even that. It's just, it gets tiring.
Yeah.
Constantly explaining.
Fighting that same battle.
Exactly. Like, you want to win the battle, but you've been fighting for years. The sky blue? Good job. Yeah, sky blue. Oh, sky green? Yeah, come on, it's green. Come on, nice and green.
Yeah. That's a man that's been married a while. He understands that sometimes you just gotta roll with the green sky. You gotta roll with the green sky.
You got to, because if not, it's going to drive you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be crazy. You're already labeled as crazy. You don't want to be more crazier.
Yeah. In marriage, you got to definitely learn how to pick your battles.
Absolutely. Now, there is some positives that I've learned from Americans, not just my wife or her family, but also from you guys as well. Certain things
like what?
Yeah, sarcasm for one.
Hey, sarcasm is how you make it through the day, man.
Exactly. We don't have that kind of stuff back in Islands. We talk our talk. We're straight and direct. Whether you like it or you don't like it, hey, we said we got to say we move on.
Yeah.
We don't have that much sarcasm. That's especially Steve. You can be pretty sarcastic sometimes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There it is.
I know what you're talking about.
Certain dishes and stuff. Again, like I said, I've had as an adult. I never had grits. I grew up on cream of wheat, porridge.
Yeah,
porridge.
That's what I like. First time I had grits was one of my homeboys made it, and he's like, "Here, eat this." I'm not eating this crap. Just try it. I fell in love with it.
Yeah, that's why I felt. That's how I felt about porridge the first time somebody passed me a bowl of it. I was like,
"Yeah,
all of this, all of it."
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Adding more sugar to the Frosted Flakes.
Man, that's magical there.
Okay. Oh, wait. No. That's not everybody. That is not everybody. I want you to think that's completely an American thing.
2/3 of this panel. I'm with you, Jason. I'm with you.
No, Jason ain't with it either. He was shown it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He was shown it. That's not everybody. We don't.
You guys put sugar in your grits?
Same people. Whoa! Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. We just said we don't like argument and division.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Salt and pepper.
Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Most sane people don't put additional sugar in their Frosted Flakes. In their cornflakes, maybe. Frosted Flakes?
If you put it in the cornflakes, what are you eating the cornflakes for? Just get the Frosted Flakes.
Because you can't afford the Frosted Flakes. That goes without saying. That goes without saying.
Mind you, and back home in the islands, one of the main cereals is cornflakes. You can imagine somebody who is young growing up and then discovers you can put sugar.
Frosted Flakes. They come with this. They come with sugar already in it.
No. Put the Frosted Flakes aside because again, my parents ain't buying that sweet stuff.
Right.
They'll buy traditional cornflakes, what we grew up on.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're told, hey, just go in there and get some little sugar and sprinkle sugar on top. Now that's how I'm being introduced to Frosted Flakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
Or using cornflakes to fry your chicken to bread your chicken.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, that is genius.
Yes, my mom still does up to this day. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve. No, I'm used to flour and the seasonings that go in the flour, you know, dredge. I've never to see that for the first time. I was like, huh, that's
cornflakes for the
or even take like a barbecue chicken or barbecue chips, crush them up and then bread your chicken in it. I was like, wow, man, you guys are really innovative. That's different.
Who is you guys?
Americans, man. You know, or going to
where did you find? I'm sorry. I've only been to every state east of the Mississippi, so I can't speak for the entirety of America. What I can say though is I've eaten a lot of fried chicken in a lot of places. I've never heard of using potato chips, particularly barbecue, to bread your chicken. Okay, well, look at that. All right. All right.
Don't knock it till you try it.
I'm not knocking it. I'm not trying it. I'm gonna take your word for it. I'm gonna take your word for it. Okay.
Ew, man. That is amazing.
Oh, and yes, I only generally do salt and pepper on my grits. Salt, pepper, and butter. Okay. However,
my mother never made grits.
It's okay.
Nobody's
perfect. Nobody's perfect. It's okay. It's all right.
Has anybody ever tried putting sugar in the grits? Just see what this like?
No, that's the way that I primarily used to eat it.
With sugar.
So here's the thing. I don't eat sugar in my grits, but I do like to have toast with grape jelly, and I put my salty grits on top of it, and then I eat it.
Interesting.
That's different.
That is different.
It may not be for you. All I'm saying is, I was shown this in the 3rd grade.
You do that.
You've seen it. I know you've seen it. You're like, this dude tripping.
Yes.
Yes, I
remember. Yes, you do that.
It's the thing. And I'm trying to tell you, and this is why I don't besmirch people that put sugar in their grits, because I don't put sugar in my grits, but I almost always eat my grits on top of something that has jelly on it.
Biscuit bill for breakfast before going to work. Best Buy. Yes. I believe me. I remember.
Oh, that man said it was so weird when I saw it the first time. I never forgot it. Never forgot it.
We carpooled together, so yeah.
Dude. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
How long did we carpool together?
I think at one point your car was down, and then once you got yours back and running, mine went down.
Boy, we were struggling. We were struggling.
So out of this entire debate, the internet has taken the stop eating cats and dogs or mark safe from having my pet eaten.
That's a real thing. That's why he said it. Yo, people act like people vote for stupider things, okay? They vote for stupider things. And pets ain't even a stupid thing to be arguing over. Like, I'd be pissed if people were eating pets in my neighborhood. But they're not eating pets in Chicago or wherever it is. He said they were eating pets. They're not. It's just not a thing. You know what? That thing in freaking Colorado isn't even a really thing. Remember week before last? We were talking about the Venezuelans that took over the apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even true. Investigative journalists went up there and they went to the apartment complex. And it was like, we heard Venezuelans were here. And they were like, where? I mean, some of them were there, but they didn't take over a complex. It was right-wing media ostracizing people of color from South American countries. Anyhow, so yeah. Oh, anyhow, all right. Taylor Swift, after endorsing Kamala Harris, got $1.8 million 1.8 million likes in the first 10 minutes of her endorsement tweet.
It wouldn't have mattered. She could have endorsed a bag of poop. She still would have got the money.
She sure would have, and that's why I love it.
So are we locking in Harris for 25?
I mean, put it like this.
I'll never say it. I will not say it until November the 4th because I don't want anybody thinking that their vote doesn't matter. Because every single vote matters. And
yeah, I'll put it like this. I'm registered as unaffiliated only because I don't like the putting me in a box like that. Like, but I agree more so with the middle class, like being middle class and seeing what's going on. I really would need to. I need the middle class to be strengthened. I really do, because America's on our backs. We're the ones getting hammered horribly for taxes because it's something that we're going to do, whether we can actually pay it or not, and they're going to continue to hammer us. And for that, I'm very like the rich people. They will always be rich. Rich people just get richer, no matter practically. They don't have to do anything else, and they will continue to get richer. That's just the way that works. So why not focus on the middle class?
Hey man, listen.
That's my defense.
I agree.
I don't care that rich people get rich. I don't care. Matter of fact, by and large, it's none of my business. However, I just don't want to be poor.
Right.
And if you getting rich means that I have to be poor, then I have a problem with you being rich. If you can be rich without me being poor, I don't care about your rich. That's just the way that it is. And I think most Americans feel that way. Like, we don't care that the rich, they've always been rich people in America. But the level of poverty in America hasn't been this way in a long time.
Right.
And you can't keep this many people this impoverished for this long, because if you do, then we're going to turn into France. We're going to start eating the rich. That's the only other solution.
Eating animals?
Nah, bruh. Nah. No, absolutely not. I do not mean animals. I mean the actual rich. Now, the only solution to this is to have a middle class that is expanding and growing and has the opportunity for people to make enough money to not be poor.
Right.
It happened when America became the greatest nation in the world after the Depression. It's because the government promised all of these people an opportunity in the middle class, pay for their college, gave them home loans, mostly white people, but gave them free college education, gave them money to start a business, and they secured all of those loans, like all government-backed loans, right? And that's how we built the middle class. We allowed unions to come in, and they set the 5-day work week, the 40-hour work week, to make sure that people were able to work at factories to get not just a minimum wage, but a livable wage and healthcare, and that you couldn't fire them. And it grew, like it did the thing. There was a one salary household that was able to pay all the bills. Like, it's a thing. So if we do that again, we can rise again. But if we don't, the only solution is eating the rich.
Will rise again.
Don't ever say that. I've read, man, the book that I'm reading makes that phrase. I drive down my neighborhood and I see these American flags in the yard. And I don't know about you, but what you're going to notice is that Trump supporters that don't want to be identified as Trump supporters have these big American flags at the front of their yard.
I like the oversized ones.
Yeah, and they're not like humongous, but they're like 6-foot flags.
Like
they're big, and on the but that's what they've done now. And I ride and I'll go, man, y'all
hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, they ain't even really trying. I mean, I am in a like Trump neighborhood portion of Texas, of Houston, but yeah, man, just you got to. People are not. We're not. America was not created to have so many people. Well, it was created for that. The most recent iteration didn't have people, this poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
put it like this. I understand why white people are mad, because they don't have the opportunity to get into the middle class the ways that they used to before. And they blame it on brown people when they should be blaming it on rich people.
Right.
And if they got that through their skulls, then maybe they could do something about their predicament. Right. If I was a white dude and I wasn't rich, I wasn't wealthy, that is, right? If I didn't have a couple $100,000 to my name, I'd be pissed off. Right. I just wouldn't be pissed off at black people or brown people because it's not their fault.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah.
Yeah. Totally agree. I can't wait to watch these recaps of what.
Oh, they spinning right now. They spinning right now. They spinning.
Yeah.
They're very much spinning. Anything else we need to talk about before we close out?
I was, but you know what? We can save that for the next one. We've already, the stream's been up for the last almost 3 hours. We'll go ahead and get that in the next one.
Gotta give the people what they want. Gotta give the people what they want.
I think we did that.
I think we did too.
I think we did that today.
Yeah. About to go get in bed and figure out which spoon I'm gonna be tonight.
Oh, for sure.
I'm joking. I'm joking, Jason. I'm joking. It's Tuesday night. I'm always a big spoon on Tuesday. Thank you guys for watching 1155 for the Eye of the Debate.
Yo, thank you guys for joining us and for this debate. Make sure you fact check and whoever you're voting for. Hey, that's all well and good. Just make sure you're an informed voter, and we will see you guys once again.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Hold up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Comment,
make sure to like and subscribe and comment and hit us up on the live so we can, we can talk back and forth with you, so you can laugh at us and we can laugh at you. We can have all these jokes, and hit the notification button so you can know when we're live, and we'll see you guys next week. Looking forward to it.
It's next week.